Hey everyone, welcome back to the Serendipitous Rebel podcast. I'm Wendy, and we are in the middle of a hiatus right now, taking some time this summer to be with our families. But we didn't want to disappear on you. So while we're away, we've been reaching back into the vault and pulling episodes that we think deserve a second listen. And this one, I have to be honest, when I went back and listened to it, I felt it differently than when I did when we first recorded it back in January of 2024. Krystal and I were fired up about a post that was circulating online. The claim that if you're not willing to invest a minimum of $100,000 a year in coaching, in masterminds, retreats, you might as well quit your business and go back to your 9 to 5. And yes, we had a lot to say about that. But here's what stayed with me 2.5 years later. And honestly, it's the part that matters most. You are already investing in your purpose every single day, in the hours you pour into your business, in the boundaries you hold, in the clients you show up for, in the way you keep choosing this path, even when it's hard. That is purposeful investment, and nobody gets to put a dollar amount on it. Not $100,000, not zero. That number is yours. It's always has been. And I'll be real with you, when this episode aired, I had an intuitive coach. It was exactly the right investment for that season of my life and my business, and still is. Valuable, purposeful, and completely to choose. And recently, I've added a business coach, not because someone scared me into it, not because I felt like I wasn't serious enough without one, but because it felt aligned with where I am right now and where I'm going. That's the difference. That's what this whole episode is really about. The coaching industry has spent a lot of energy making women feel like they're not doing enough, not spending enough, not serious enough. And I think it's time we push back on that loudly and clearly. Because here's what I know to be true: the most powerful investment you will ever make is in understanding your own purpose deeply enough that no fear-based marketing tactic can shake you from it. When you know your why, you stop making decisions from panic and start making them from a place of real alignment. So listen to this one with fresh ears. Ask yourself, where have you already been investing in your purpose without anyone's permission, without a price tag attached? That answer matters more than any dollar amount someone else could ever put on your potential. So let's dive in.
Shady business practices have always been there in some form or another because, like I said, humans be human. What I would like to encourage people is that, do I think investing in coaching and masterminds and retreats is an important part of your business growth? Yes, I wouldn't be a business coach if I didn't think otherwise. Okay. Do I think you need to bankrupt yourself in order to make it happen? No.
Welcome to the Serendipitous Rebel podcast. I'm Wendy.
And I'm Krystal. This podcast is for the adventure-loving, purpose-driven, action-minded, authentic, and rebellious entrepreneurs.
Just like us. And just like you, we are trying to figure shit out. So join us as we talk about business and life and everything in between.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Purposeful Podcasting. Before we get into this week's episode, just a quick announcement. We are going to go on hiatus for a couple of weeks. We are in the middle of our Make It Happen challenge, and we are putting a lot of effort into that community right now. And we have a lot of other things behind the scenes. But before we went on hiatus, we wanted to hop on and give you one last peek into our thoughts this week. Come in to talk to you about investments and investing in you. And what does that mean? And I'm just going to let Wendy take
Ooh.
for this part of the conversation, because this was really her. We gotta hop on and talk about this today. We gotta hop on and talk about this real quick.
Okay, so I will take it and run with it. So there was a post circulating that I received probably third or fourth hand, but about basically, if you're not willing to invest a minimum of $100,000 a year in coaching, masterminds, you know, healers, memberships, retreats, stuff like that, then you might as well quit. And it was put in the way of a side hustle and go back to your 9 to 5. And I saw it through a post of someone who was saying, "Oh, wait a second, this is really not how it should be."
No.
And yeah, to put it mildly. And this actually really sets me off, and for a number of reasons. The first is, how do you actually put a dollar amount on your investments? We are all at such different places. We like to say that you have certain resources. Money is one of them. Time is another. Energy is a big one. And also, I think to some extent, your resources, your community. And I just saw this particular post as being, I think I'm parroting what you had said earlier. It's manipulative and it's dangerous.
Yep.
Because I can't put my hand in anyone else's pocket. I
Yeah.
don't know what other people's situations are. And to expect people, and it's very, what is it? It's very much like those Lululemon the leggings where everyone
LuLaRoe leggings.
Lululemon.
It's a cult.
Yes.
It's a cult.
Yes. Where it's just, you end up buying so much of your own stuff in order to make that to the next level and whatever, that you bankrupt yourself. And I just can't imagine doing that. And so looking at it from the perspective of why don't ever put your hand in someone else's pocket. It's also, if you're talking about a side hustle, there are so many different reasons people do that. And it doesn't have to be financial. It could be, people do side hustles because they have a really strong, say a sick child, or they have, single moms, or they have other passions for, their kids' sports. There's so many different things that make people and are, what make people do what they want to do. That again, how do we force people into boxes? Which I really don't ever want to see. There's no one formula for everyone. And it's just so mind-boggling to me that it's so self-serving, I think, is ultimately.
Yep.
And the big thing that really was, I think, the biggest trigger is they talk about investing in yourself. Well, wait a second. From a professional self, and you're talking to two people right here who have the gym memberships and do the spas and do the things and work into our daily lives, self-care. But it's really, you're investing in your purpose.
Yeah.
And that was nowhere in that whole thing when you're talking about a side hustle. If you don't do it this way, you might as well get out of the game. It's just, as my son would say, oh my Lanta.
Oh my Lanta.
I knew that was coming.
Oh my Lanta.
Yeah, and I know. Sorry. And I'm just on a bit of a tear. And the thing is, where are they talking about? Your purpose is, why do you get out of bed in the morning? What is your reason that gets you up and moving and motivated and wanting to accomplish? Again, we all have a million different reasons for why we do that. It doesn't in any way talk about investing for that reason. Okay, now I can shut up.
So it's particularly troublesome, right? Because we are coaches, right? We charge for
Mm-hmm.
our coaching. Okay. Like
Sure.
that's not a secret. I would never, ever, ever encourage somebody to bankrupt themselves or to put themselves on financial strain to work with us. I think that's the part of that conversation of like, if you're not willing to invest a minimum of $100,000 in all of these things, then you're just not serious enough about your business. And that's such bullshit because I think that there are different levels for different people in this game. Right before we got on this call, I think that having mentors and different mentors at each level is really, really important. But
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes we want to skip ahead levels. And it's not to say that that's not to say like everybody needs to work their way up a certain way, because there is no one size fits all to entrepreneurship, and there's no one path, and there's no one right path. Okay. But this idea
Mm-hmm.
that, one, there is no guarantee that if you invest $100,000 in anything that you'll get a return on that investment. I don't know a single coach that can guarantee you will get a return on your investment if you invest this amount of money. And any coach that's willing to say, if you invest $25,000 with me, I will make you that back in 3 months. That's bull, because there's no promises or quick fixes or guarantees in life. If that were the case, all of us could throw 25 grand into the slot machine of coaching and like make six figures tomorrow
Win the jackpot.
and
Yeah.
win the jackpot. Like that's not how it
Yeah.
works. Okay. There are so many
No.
other factors at play. Like, if you have a $27 offer, but you're going to invest 100 grand in coaching, I'm sorry, you're not going to make your investment back just on your $27 offer, without other things needing to be factored in and at play. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
there's a huge disconnect there. Okay. Because the bottom line is there are good coaching programs, there are bad coaching programs, there are good, what else was on that list? Masterminds, there are bad masterminds. There are things that
Sure.
absolutely are worth
Retreats. Sure.
retreats. Yeah. There are things
Yeah.
that are absolutely worth investing your time and money into, but mostly because not only are they good for you business wise, they should be good for you holistically as well. And I think that there's a lot of places out there that are missing that mark. I won't go down that rabbit hole, but I think that this idea that what it is when people say you need to be willing to invest in yourself to be successful, that's a fear tactic and a scarcity tactic that people use to manipulate you into making a financial decision based on emotion and not based on asking yourself the right questions like, do I even have the financial resources to do this? Do I have the time and bandwidth and energy to put into this to make my investment successful? Because a lot of us can invest in
Right.
courses and coaches and things like that. But if we don't do the work, and we've seen it on both sides,
Mm-hmm.
people have coached with us. I have worked with coaches. I'm guilty of this too, because I'm, humans be human. I might invest in a coaching program or invest in a thing, and I didn't do the work. I didn't do the thing, and I didn't show up for a number of reasons. Disconnect with the program, life be life, and whatever. We've had people come to us in a lot of the same mannerisms. If you don't make it happen, if you don't take the action necessary, it's not the investment that failed, it's other factors in there. So I hate this
Sure.
ATM of business that is.
Well, really, it's so much about, and it's so much about everybody is supposed to fit into one box. So I was actually going to stop you, Krystal, when you even said I took a course. I was going to stop you right there and
Yeah.
say, you know what? There's so many, there's millions of reasons why you don't necessarily complete something.
Yeah.
And the thing that I always find really because I've done the same thing. Holy cow. You know,
Right.
I look back and we are very much human, and we are very much a product of this whole industry, this whole ecosystem, very
Mhm.
much. And one of the things that I think is really important that I feel, and I think you feel as well, driven to do is to share our experience as, wait a second,
Mhm.
hear what we have to say. We've lived through it. Now let's see that you can avoid the mistakes that we've made. I
Right.
mean, you know, I have to speak a little quieter because my husband's in the other room, but I think about all the money that I have spent, and in a way,
Yeah.
and in a way, I feel like I flushed it down the toilet for whatever reason. And it could, in some parts, it could have been because, as you said, like there's a disconnect, or a lot of times there's not a ton of follow through, and there's all sorts of other reasons. It's interesting. Like, I'm proud that from the beginning, I have had some absolutely amazing, excellent coaches. I've also had some that don't necessarily fit that bill. So I feel that the money and the time that was spent with certain people has been so invaluable, you know? And I do think that jumping in at the beginning, there's certain stages and phases of your entrepreneurial journey to follow, and to say I have a side hustle and I need to be spending $100,000. It's like, that's just on self-care. So how much do you actually have to spend on your business itself? How much do you have to actually bring in? And I know you have a great formula for that. Yeah, but it's like, holy cow, that's not a side hustle. That's like
No.
definitely on, you're not necessarily looking for even an entrepreneurial life. You're not looking for a lifestyle. You're really looking for an empire. And it's
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Well,
So,
and there was the
ah,
piece in that post of like, because that's what it takes. One of the things that I love about being an online business owner and being an entrepreneur, you get to set the terms of how much you make and how fast you get there in a lot of different ways. I mean, there's some steps
mhm,
there, and there's a lot of growth and a lot of learning, and there's a lot of investment of time, money, and energy that goes into that.
mhm.
But y- there is not a lot of limit on what you can or cannot do. If you want to go and build websites for people, you can go charge $10,000 website. You can go build the websites for people on live long day. You can make nice living. If
Mhm.
you want to be a coach, you can go coach people, and coaching programs range the gamut of price ranges on what you can charge
Yes.
to coach people. And,
Yes.
depending on what skill sets you're bringing to that table, backs up what that price point is that you're going to charge. And what does that look like? Does that look like calls? Does that look like us daily chat and boxing with clients? Does that look like, you get to choose. You get to choose how many hours do you want to do this? Do
Exactly.
you want to build a course? Do you want to make a podcast? Do you want to do a YouTube channel, or whatever it is you want to do? You get a lot of freedom and
Mhm.
flexibility with that. There is no rule that says you have to invest 100K to be successful at this game. I can honestly say I have not invested that much money. Have I invested in masterminds and retreats and coaching? Absolutely. Some of those were good investments and some of those were not such good investments. But this idea that you have to do this and you have to do that and you have to do this to be successful is baloney, because there's so many different ways that this can look online.
Mhm.
It's a wild, wild west out here. So,
Mhm.
so if somebody is saying that, my next question to them is, what are you trying to sell me? And
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that if that $100,000, I'm sure there's a high-end coaching, one-on-one coaching, there's a high-end mastermind, there's all sorts of high-end things that puts you. I don't know this particular coach actually at all, so I'm not really sure. But yeah, it's very much, there's always some ulterior motive.
yes,
There's some ulterior motive And anyway, it is, I guess it is what it is,
Well, I feel like those sorts of things will always be prevalent in the online space. And really, it's not just the online space that this happened. I mean, people were selling snake oil door to door to people way back in
Yes.
the day. You know, weird department store pushes. There's like weird MLM stuff that goes on out there. And this is not an attack on MLMs. So let's like not come after me on that one, guys. But like there's all kinds of different shady business practices have always been there in some form or another because, like I said, humans be human. What I would like to encourage people is that do I think investing in coaching and masterminds and retreats is an important part of your business growth? Yes, I wouldn't be a business coach if I didn't think otherwise. Okay.
Mhm.
Do I think you need to bankrupt yourself in order to make it happen? No. Do I think it is a magic bullet into your success? No, because I think that there's a lot of other factors that inhibit people's success in online business that sometimes has nothing to do with their coach or their mastermind of choice and everything to do with their offer or their bandwidth. It if we had a magic bullet to make you six figures tomorrow, um, we would be a lot more sold out than we probably are, and I would be charging a whole heck of
Yeah,
a lot more.
we'd actually be on some exotic island, in our yes.
Right?
Yeah.
With
But
a pool boy fanning me as we speak, but
yes.
but that's not the case. What we can give you are actionable, good strategies that work for you, taking into account your bandwidth and your current place in life and the current obstacles that you might
Yes.
be facing both personally and professionally. But I think but it has nothing to do with a money in, money out thing. We
Yeah.
pay people to help us solve problems. I think about our coaches that we use. She does not come in and wave a magic wand in our business and make us money. She gives us actionable insight into what it is that we are doing and gives us
Mhm.
feedback on where to pivot in that moment. That's what we
Right.
need. She saves us a
Yep.
lot of time. I think she saves us
Yep.
with money and sometimes saves us from ourselves in
I
that
love that.
aspect.
Yes.
But I think that that's what good coaching does. I think that's what
Yes.
we do for our clients. It's not that we're here to wave magic wands into your business and say, abracadabra, bibbity bobbity boo.
Or if you
Listen
do
here.
XYZ, then instant success or whatever is gonna, yeah, there's, and
No,
that, yeah.
what we tend to do is tear apart kind of what it is you're doing and really ask you the questions to get you to see, is this a good fit? Is this where you want to be and where you want to go? And I think the most successful thing we ever did was, again, save people from themselves,
Mhm.
from going down a rabbit hole of a big investment or a lot of time into something that wasn't going to serve them. But it all kind of goes back into your purpose. And so, like, investing in yourself, what the hell does that mean? But invest in your purpose. We do that every day, whether
Yeah.
that's buying stuff for our kids, paying our bills at home, or how we operate our business all comes back to that big purpose piece. So it doesn't feel like a bad investment at any given time. But if it feels yucky, guys, it's yucky.
I think that's a perfect ending. I love that.
If it feels yucky, it's yucky. Oh,
It's
like how
yucky.
your gut tells you. Ugh,
Oh.
ugh.
So anyway, we will see you back in a couple weeks. And in the meantime, um, we will actually get on our list.
Mhm.
Make sure you're on our list because we'll share maybe some of our favorite podcasts and we'll continue the conversation through our weekly newsletter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll definitely be showing up in email. We're still going to be showing up on socials. Just taking a little bit of a podcast hiatus so we can
But
give our
we shall
calendars all
be
our love.
back.
And we've got a
Yes.
workshop coming up. So yeah, definitely get on the list so that you don't miss out on anything because we've got a lot of fun things coming down the pike. But we will be back in a few weeks. And until then, we will miss you terribly.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating.
But only if you liked it. Otherwise, just keep it to yourself.
You can learn more about our upcoming masterminding opportunities on our website at serendipitousrebel.com.
And if you have topics you'd like to hear about, be sure to submit them on our website or DM us on social media.
Hey, see you next week. Bye.
Bye.